introducing me, Professor O'Connor. Good morning, everyone. My name is Gyu-tak Lee, and just being introduced, I'm a faculty member here in Mason, Korea, Associate Professor of the Global Affairs Program, and my interest mostly in media criticism and music industries, and these days with K-pop and Hallyu and other Korean wave thing, focusing how Korean pop culture could have been globalized, which is not, non-Western countries and non-English-based country, but has been going global very fast and in a very broad way, just like you know. Firstly in East Asia, then outside East Asia, especially since the early 2010 and mid-2010, you all know all the phenomena such as Gangnam Style, BTS, and other, right? I know that all of you, although I assume that not everyone here is a big fan of K-pop, right? Right. And you know BTS, but many of you even have not heard any song of the BTS, I believe. Or if you have heard the term K-pop, and you know that it is from Korea, but you do not exactly know what actually the K-pop is. So before having our actual all-day conference, I would like to give a brief introduction about the background of K-pop, what is K-pop, and also something that is also related to our conference today, which is the relationship between K-pop and government, K-pop and technology, and other things. So yes, what is K-pop? Before starting talking about what is K-pop, I should say that first of all, K-pop is not the very same word with whole Korean popular music. Sometimes some even like experts, media use the term K-pop to indicate the whole Korean popular music, including all genres of Korean popular music, but that is not the actual way that has been used by industry especially, and also the fans who have made this big phenomenon. Actually, the term K-pop even did not exist until the very late 1990s, when it firstly began to be globalized or internationalized outside this domestic market, Korea, firstly in many East Asian countries, including Chinese-speaking regions, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and other Southeast Asian countries such as Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, etc. But you know that there are some other genres besides K-pop that combined with the initial of the country or the region and the word pop, right? Which means popular music, or pop as a genre in general popular music, such as rock, jazz, hip-hop, etc. Some of you have heard the term Britpop, and I can see that there will be a discussion about Mando pop here, or J-pop, which is from Japan, or Canto pop from Hong Kong, mostly sung in Cantonese, their local dialects, but also very universal language in Hong Kong. Or Latin pop, right? Swedish pop, etc., etc., etc. It means that different from rock, jazz, or hip hop, something like that, which shows its own genre characteristic based on musical aspects. K-pop cannot be only understood by its musical aspect, though some musical aspect will be very important. There is a more important thing to define K-pop, which is K here, something like J-pop or Mando pop or Canto pop. And you know that K is the initial of the Korea, right? So, there's a technical issue with the sorry that there's a technical issue here. So I will continue. Actually my PowerPoint is just showing you the themes, so you may not have to look at all the PowerPoint. Just listen to my speech, please. So K-pop is kind of the global music genre, firstly in East Asia since the late 1990s, and then outside East Asia since the early 2010. But the origin of the term K-pop was not actually made or created by Koreans themselves, not by Korean popular music industry, or not by Korean government, or not by Korean fans either. Actually, the term was firstly used by some East Asian media and fans in late 1990s, such as Hong Kong, Taiwan, or China, when it became really popular. And actually, it was the very first time, not only for Korean music industry, but also for those East Asian culture industry and fans to enjoy something from Korea. They enjoyed Cantopop, they enjoyed J-pop, but K-pop, very first time. So they tried to name it, and they knew that it was from Korea. So they just combined the word K instead of J or Kento or Mando or something that they enjoyed before. So we could say that the term was given by the global, foreign, or I should say international media and audience rather than local Korean industrial fans, which means that even still, now, the definition of K-pop cannot be made by Korean government, Korean media, or Korean fans. The most important thing about K-pop is it is kind of the globally recognized genre, and even the name was also from the international audience, which means that global recognition is very important here. I know that there are a lot of genres besides K-pop in Korean popular music, and if you are from Korea, or if you are Korean, then you may know those genres, such as some kind of domestic Korean genres, such as trot. Some of you have heard the genre name of the trot, some of you have heard not, but trot might not be considered as a part of K-pop, though some in Korea try to include trot as a part of K-pop, but it cannot be made by Korea's own effort, because the important thing about K-pop is the globalization or global recognition. Then, what makes K-pop so popular in international music scene? There are many reasons for that, and I know that there is a time limit, so I cannot give you all the details about K-pop. Actually, this is a semester theme that I'm teaching here for my student. So, very simply speaking, there are something that is not very special, that is not very unique. That does not only exist in K-pop, but a bit different from other musical genres. For example, K-pop is mostly said to be one of the most hybridized genre in global popular music genres. But you know that all kinds of popular music is based on cultural hybridization. When you see the history of US popular music, for example, US popular music is based on different cultures from immigrants from different parts of the world, from European continent, African continent, Latin American continent, etc., 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 right? So there have been cultural hybridization or musical hybridization in the United States, which made US popular music so diverse. And there is also the hybridization between US, or I should say Anglo-American popular music, or in general Western popular music and local popular music such as K-pop. K-pop cannot be understood without understanding those global popular music genre, mostly from America or Europe or even from Japan. When you listen to K-pop, you will see that it is based on African American popular music such as R&B or hip-hop, and also there are like a lot of electronic music like called aspect here, along with some Korean type of melody lines, and the way how it has been performed and it has been produced, as well as circulated and consumed, is also very Korean way. So musically, it is based on cultural hybridization, but also when we see the industrial part, which is also the very important, because K-pop has been also defined by its unique business model. I'm saying it is unique, but it does not mean that Korean music industry have created themselves alone. Actually, the business model, the very key essential part of K-pop, is also based on like U.S. musical industry or Japanese music industry, such as like even we can trace back to the very early period of Hollywood industry, such as the Star System in 1920 and 1930, or like Motown's factory processing or Fordism in 1960, or some like other young boy bands in 1980s or 1990s, such as New Kids on the Block or Backstreet Boys. But it is not all. When we see the history of Japanese popular music, we could also see that there is a kind of term that K-pop industry and fans and media is used, which is idol, the sword of the musician. Actually was firstly used by Japanese music industry to indicate a specific part of a specific kind of musicians who should be trained and educated by the big entertainment agency before making their debut to become an actual complete musician, or I should say a part of musical product. So we could see not only the musical hybridization in K-pop, but also in the hybridity in industry or business model. But the thing is, K-pop is very different from like the original US pop culture or Japanese pop culture or culture from other European countries, because K-pop industry, fans, media, critics, or other performers, industry insiders have created it based on its own political, economic, cultural, and social context. So it is the very key point to understand K-pop and to understand why it has been so popularized. The other thing I would like to talk about, which is the relationship between K-pop and the government. I know that this is the very key thing here in conference, and actually I was asked to give a kind of like speaker in a session or something, but I don't think I'm a very expert for these kinds of like cultural policy or the role of the government in K-pop, but I can say two things here. First, there is a general misunderstanding about the big success, global success of K-pop, that Korean government have done something very great. This is a kind of the misunderstanding because you know that there has been a kind of the economic development plan made by the government from 1960 till 1980, which made South Korea one of the very developed countries in the world in a very short period, right? So some people will also assume that K-pop or other like global success of Korean culture industry is also due to those government support or government plan or government organization, which is not true. Usually, there was even a contempt or disdain on K-pop or idol pop music, I should say, such that the government considered it a part of global culture, or even they even argue that K-pop or other Korean pop culture was not a authentic Korean culture. But I should also say that we should not forget the very contribution of the government on the development of K-pop or other Korean culture industry, because they have done many things for the development culture industry. First of all, in the mid-1990s, there was an abolition of pre-censorship law on music industry, which was very important for K-pop creators to produce what they really wanted. And second, there was a fast construction of the high-speed internet nationwide in the early 2000s, which made like music industry as well as culture industry fastly digitalized and to be prepared for the very shift happening in the music industry and the culture industry outside Korea. Then there was something like kind of the reform of the system, such as the like enacting the standard contract for idol and an agency, and they also have penetrated into some other part for the development of culture industry. So one thing I should say here is that the role of the government in the development of K-pop or in the development of Korean culture industry or music industry in general should not be overestimated, but should not be overlooked either. So I believe that the very session that right after my speech about the role of the government in the development of, in the rise of K-pop and other East Asian pop music will show something very interesting about the relationship between the music industry, culture industry, and the role of the government. And there are some other things that will be also discussed today, such as the relationship between technology and K-pop, technology and popular music, or copyright issue related to the AI-generated music, which is a very hot topic here, also in South Korea. And there's also a discussion about the relationship between the development of social media and the music industry, which is a very important thing happening here today. So I think my time's up, and I hope that you can get a very brief understanding about the background of K-pop with my speech, and please enjoy the great sessions that we will have today after my speech. Thank you.